Every year, it's the same old song and dance: the turkey, the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, and of course, the family drama. The mainstream media, those champions of woke narratives, never miss a beat. They start their annual tradition of churning out articles about the dreaded racist uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. You know the ones: how to navigate your racist uncle's bigoted rants, or 10 tips for silencing your family's conservative conspiracy theorist. It's like clockwork. Give me a break. These articles are as predictable as Aunt Carol's dry turkey, every single year. First of all, who are these mythical creatures? Do they even exist outside of these articles? Trust me, your Uncle Joe is more concerned with the gravy boat than the latest political diatribe. He's just here for the food. But friends, there's a new sheriff in town, a new kind of holiday havoc wreaker. Forget the racist uncle. This Thanksgiving, we've got a new guest to worry about: the miserable leftist. Yes, that's right. The leftist relative who, armed with talking points from MSNBC and enough self-righteous indignation to power a small city, is ready to turn your Thanksgiving feast into a political free-for-all. They're coming, and they're bringing their opinions with them. And trust me, they won't be shy about sharing. Fresh off a major election loss, they're coming armed with facts, figures, and a whole lot of attitude. Buckle up, buttercups, because it's about to get bumpy. This Thanksgiving, prepare for a feast of food and fiery debates. Now, before you go all Rambo on your unsuspecting family, let's make sure we're dealing with a genuine, certified leftist. We don't want any collateral damage here. So, how can you spot one in the wild? Or, more accurately, your dining room? Well, they'll likely be the ones glued to their phones, frantically refreshing Twitter for the latest outrage. They'll be the ones who can't enjoy a simple happy Thanksgiving without launching into a lecture about the historical inaccuracies and cultural appropriation of the holiday. They'll be the ones who turn a conversation about pumpkin pie into a discussion about income inequality and the plight of the working class. And God help you if you mention anything about football. Get ready for a lecture about toxic masculinity, CTE, and the exploitation of college athletes. All right, Patriots, now that we've identified the threat, let's talk strategy. The first line of defense? Kindness. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but trust me on this. Leftists are fueled by outrage and indignation. They feed off of conflict like it's a Thanksgiving feast. And let's be honest, they're probably vegan, so they could use a good meal. So, how do we disarm them? By being the bigger person. Greet them with a smile. Offer them an extra helping of stuffing. Engage in some harmless small talk about the weather, unless of course the weather is somehow linked to climate change, in which case quickly change the subject. The goal here is to lull them into a false sense of security. Make them think they're among friends, among people who understand and agree with their worldview. They'll be so busy trying to reconcile your kindness with their preconceived notions about conservatives that they won't have the energy to launch into a political tirade. Section 4. Strategy 2. Strategic engagement and the art of redirection. Now, let's say your leftist guest is like a dog with a bone. They're not falling for your kindness trap. They're itching for a fight, and they're not going to rest until they've turned Thanksgiving dinner into a political debate. Don't panic. We've got a plan for that too. It's called strategic engagement and redirection. Basically, you're going to acknowledge their point, but you're going to do it in a way that allows you to quickly pivot to a less controversial topic. For example, let's say your leftist cousin starts ranting about the evils of capitalism while you're trying to enjoy your turkey. You could say something like, "Bless your heart, Sarah, you make some interesting points. Capitalism certainly has its flaws. But hey, speaking of flaws, did you see that disastrous play the Cowboys made last night? See what you did there?" You acknowledge their point without actually engaging with it, and then you seamlessly transition to a topic that's much less likely to cause a family feud. This technique is all about maintaining the peace while still showing respect for the other person's viewpoint. By acknowledging their perspective, you make them feel heard, which can often diffuse the tension. Then, by smoothly shifting the conversation to a more neutral topic, you steer the interaction back to a more harmonious place. It's a subtle art, but with practice, it can become second nature. Remember, the goal is to keep the atmosphere light and enjoyable for everyone. So next time you find yourself in a heated discussion, try this strategy. You'll be surprised at how effective it can be in maintaining the peace and keeping the holiday spirit alive. Happy Thanksgiving, and may your dinner table be filled with joy and laughter. Section 5, Strategy 3, Sarcasm, the ultimate weapon against leftist tirades. Okay, so you've tried kindness, you've tried strategic engagement, but your leftist guest is still on a roll. They're like a runaway train of social justice, and they're headed straight for your mashed potatoes. What's your last resort? Sarcasm, my friend. Sarcasm is the ultimate weapon against leftist tirades. Why? Because leftists, by and large, have no sense of humor. They're too busy being offended by everything to actually find anything funny. So, when all else fails, fight fire with laughter. Make a joke. Be sarcastic. Point out the absurdity of their argument. Just remember to keep it light. The goal here is to disarm them with laughter, not to escalate the situation into a full-blown family feud. Section 6. Real-world combat arming you with witty comebacks. Now I know what you're thinking, this all sounds great in theory, but what about some practical advice? How do I actually navigate these tricky conversations without causing a scene or ruining the holiday spirit? What do I actually say when my leftist nephew starts ranting about the patriarchy? Or when my cousin brings up climate change for the 100th time? Don't worry, I've got you covered. The key is to stay calm, collected, and to have a few clever lines up your sleeve. Here are a few witty comebacks to keep in your back pocket, ones that will make you look sharp without escalating the situation. When they complain about income inequality, you know, if you're so worried about income inequality, you could always donate your iPhone to someone in need. It's a simple yet effective way to highlight the irony in their argument. When they argue that all white people are racist, well, I guess that makes you a racist against white people. How ironic. This comeback not only turns the tables, but also makes them reconsider their sweeping generalizations. When they say that America is the worst country in the world, then why don't you move to one of those socialist paradises you're always talking about? This one is sure to make them pause and think. Remember, the key is to be quick on your feet and to always have a witty comeback at the ready. It's not just about winning the argument, but also about keeping the conversation light and engaging. And if all else fails, just smile and nod politely while mentally planning your escape route. Sometimes, the best response is no response at all, especially if it means preserving the peace and joy of the gathering. Section 7. Mission accomplished. Enjoy your Thanksgiving feast victorious. So there you have it, my friends, your ultimate guide to surviving Thanksgiving with your leftist relatives. Remember, stay calm, be kind, or at least pretend to be kind, and don't be afraid to use sarcasm to your advantage. And most importantly, don't forget to enjoy yourself. It's Thanksgiving after all. And whatever you do, stay out of jail, and never fight in Grandma's house. Remember, it's a long weekend, you won't see a judge until at least Monday. Happy Thanksgiving to all.